The first thing you feel when you step into the hollow is the silence, not the peaceful kind, but a suffocating, unnatural void that drowns out your breath and makes your skin crawl. It's as if the forest itself has sucked every sound from the air, leaving only a thick stillness that presses into your ears and rattles your bones. No birds call, no insects buzz, even the wind refuses to stir the branches. The air tastes heavy, damp, and cold like the breath of something waiting just beyond sight. You think you hear a faint rustle, but when you turn, nothing moves. On my first night here, I woke to a whisper. Not a voice, not words, but a breath, a wet, rasping exhale that seemed to seep from the trees themselves. They were breathing, not in a gentle, natural way, but slow, deliberate, like an ancient creature stirring beneath bark and moss. I wasn't supposed to be here. The hollow is a place they erased from maps, a forgotten scar on the earth. I was sent to monitor it, supposedly for environmental research, soil samples, air quality, tree growth patterns. Nothing dangerous, I was told, just observation. But I was wrong. This place is alive and it's hungry. My station was a steel pod, half buried into the forest floor like a tomb. Inside, stale air mixed with the metallic scent of cold machinery. 6 biometric sensor towers planted deep in the soil surrounded me, each wired to monitor pressure changes, air quality, and most importantly, tree motion. They never explained why tree motion was crucial. I was just the observer. On the fourth night, something changed. Sensor Tower 3 recorded an abrupt drop in pressure, like the air itself had been sucked away. No wind, no storm, just an eerie, absolute silence before and after. But then the trees moved, not swaying in the breeze, but shifting their trunks like creatures waking from a long slumber, slowly, painfully deliberate. That night I dreamed I was lost in the pines. The trees twisted their trunks, bending unnaturally until they faced me. Bark peeled back like rotting flesh, revealing hollow knots that blinked like eyes. From inside those knots, I felt slow, heavy breathing, deeper and colder than my own. When I woke, wet, muddy footprints stained the cold metal floor of my pod, bare feet, but I hadn't left. The door was locked tight from the inside. I checked the security cameras. There was a 4-second gap in the footage, enough time for something to pass unseen. When the feed resumed, the camera was no longer pointing at the station but deep inside the forest, showing twisted branches and dark shadows. I tried to radio for help. Static. An hour later, a message blinked on my screen. Protocol shift initiated. Do not interfere. No sender. No explanation. Just a command. I wasn't alone anymore. Something else was here, watching. The next morning, Sensor Tower 1 vanished. Not toppled, not broken, gone. The soil where it stood was undisturbed. No hole, no sign of disturbance, just moss-covered earth, as if the tower had never existed. Then the whispers began, not voices, not words, just quiet, breathy sounds that seemed to echo from the trees themselves, like they were alive in ways I couldn't understand. One night I sat against the steel door, flashlight trembling in my hand, eyes glued to the tree line. At exactly 2:11 a.m., a massive pine creaked. It bent forward with a groan like ancient bones, branches stretching out like fingers reaching for me. Then it froze, but the ground beneath it shifted. The tree had moved 5 feet closer. Behind the station, I found a hole, perfectly round, 3 feet wide, too clean to be natural. Inside were bones. Deer, elk, and something worse, human, broken teeth, crushed skull fragments, shards of weathered bone. Carved deep into the dirt wall were 5 words. The trees are not asleep. I stopped sleeping. I kept the lights on. I stopped checking the sensor towers. Until one day, Sensor Tower 5 flickered on, broadcasting video I hadn't activated. It showed a clearing where dense forest should be. In the center, a stump, polished wet, gleaming under an unseen light. Embedded in the wood were hundreds of teeth, human teeth, baby teeth, molars, rotten and cracked, but somehow perfect. And then something moved, a shape, tall and thin, not human, not animal. It glided silently toward the camera, arms twisting into branches. Its chest was hollow. A black knot pulsed faint light inside. The feed cut out as it passed the lens. All towers came back online, showing the forest from every angle, and everywhere I looked, the trees had moved, forming a circle around me. I tried to leave, but the forest folded, paths vanished. My compass spun wildly. The sun stayed high longer than it should. The moon rose twice in one night. Time broke. Days passed, or was it weeks? I don't know anymore. The trees pressed closer, their bark pulsed with terrible hunger. The air grew thick with a rotten, wet scent, like decayed flesh and sick earth. At night, shadows twisted into impossible shapes. I heard scraping on the metal walls, slow creaks like fingernails dragging across steel. Once I saw a shadow move outside the door, a silhouette with branch-like limbs, eyes glowing hollow light. I spoke into the radio, hoping for help, but only silence answered. Then the message again. Protocol shift initiated. Do not interfere. I am trapped. The forest doesn't want me gone. It's waiting, patient, hungry, and I don't think I'm the first. I don't think I'll be the last.